Hello, hello. All right, hopefully my voice isn't too loud. If anything, I need to make it louder. All right, let's minimize this music. It's turning off music. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Should I be louder? Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. All right, let's see. Hello, can you hear me? I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to speak, to go over. Hello. Hi. Yes, you can hear me? Okay, good. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi, 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 hi. Oh, hello, hello, hello. All good. Sounds perfect. Looking radiant. Stop it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. Sound is good. Okay, good. Hello. Hi, hi, hi. How is everyone today? Digging the candles. Thank you. Hold on. Thank you. I have 4 of them now. Um, so that makes me pretty happy. Waist looking snatched. Thank you. You know, I will say, guys, what is this style called? Like, I want to get dresses that look like this. This is actually a top and a skirt. I'm actually cheating a little bit, but like I am obsessed with this aesthetic and I don't know exactly how to find dresses that look like this. I want just dresses that look like this all the time because I do have a nice waist and I do have big hips and I do have boobs and I want to accentuate the aesthetic. But see how the aesthetic is? Like I really want dresses that look like this. Where do I find them? What are they called? What is this style? I need to find it. I've been on the hunt. I've been on the hunt. Megan says, what is the Jonah Hill situation? So apparently, Jonah Hill's ex came out with some texts, and I am curious what you guys think about it. I'm curious what I think about it. I actually have a Papa Gut 15-minute video loaded for us to get the summary from him because I've read a few things on it. It seems pretty black and white in a way. She's upset. He feels like he put down his boundaries. They're not agreeing on boundaries. And now the internet is split between is he abusive and toxic slash misogynistic slash is he just putting down boundaries? And I thought great subject for us because I love talking about boundaries. Okay, you guys are saying um how do you pronounce that word, Madison? Is it how do you say the couture word? Is it like Haute? How do you say that? I don't even know how to say it. Corset dress, horse style. Thank you, Jeremy. Honestly, though. Honestly. Oh my God, stop. Uh, oh, Selena's here. What's up, Selena? Preparing dinner for the mother-in-law. Love that. Hey, Bay says, I thought Jonah Hill was cool. Anti-Hollywood dude. I'm surprised to hear this. Well, I think what's important is that we keep an open mind that he might just be expressing, oh, hot, like hot couture. Okay, I'll Google. But maybe I mean, maybe he's just being a person. You know what I was curious about is have you guys have any of you guys seen the Netflix show he has with like his therapist psychiatrist? I was going to watch it. I have it downloaded. I was supposed to watch it on my like plane rides, but then I never did. So have you guys seen it? Did you think anything about it? I heard that Jonah Hill was on an enlightenment slash like balance Zen journey. So I was kind of shocked to see this, but as well, I'm curious on what exactly happened because the text messages that I read, just on the reading articles, I think there's more to say about this situation than just is he bad or good. But I think depending on the camp you fall into, he's either bad or good, right? Does that make sense? Brooke says, is there fire behind me? No, there's candles. But it's not real fire. It's not a real fire. It's not. It's a fake fire. Yeah, it's fake fire. Um so yeah, I'm curious. I'm mostly curious to see how because Papa gets so based, and I figure he's summarizing it in 15 minutes. We'll go through that instead of an article since I read so poorly. And then I thought we could talk about it. I'm gonna sneeze. chair. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the blessings. Okay, let's move the stuff. Let's just get it started, y'all, because I want to see this. Okay. Whew. Um, Julio says, I feel like, oh no, wait. That's what I thought too. No, I'm reading too many comments. Hold on, my eyes. Oh, anyone who says they're on a Zen journey is an automatic red flag. Well, I think people can say it though in like a sarcastic way. I think when they take themselves really seriously, even though, the irony, hold on, I've got Indiana hair or my hair or someone's hair. Okay, here's what's funny. If you say in a very serious way, I'm going on my Zen journey and you need to just like respect it, there's something really like cringe about that idea of like a Zen journey. And on the other hand, you kind of want to take your Zen journey very seriously because it's like your enlightenment stage and you're like coming to stage. And at the same time, like you see me make fun of myself all the time. So there is some like just like a cringe about this idea of like I'm in my zen, there's something cringe about it. And at the same time, there's something where you should take it seriously because it's your introspective journey. I don't know. It's a balance. It's like this whole balance. You know what I'm saying? Oop, hold on. I got to get closer. It's just this whole balance between the two worlds of take it seriously, don't take it seriously. And I think that's what the struggle is, if I'm being honest. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let's watch this Papa Gut video and see how we really feel after the whole thing, though. Let me know how the volume is. Julian says, I feel like because she shared the screenshots, she's also not great. Yeah, there's something to be said about that. Here's my question. Here's the question I want us to think about. Let's say you had a really toxic relationship with someone. Let's say you know something about one of your friends. Let's say you know something about one of your siblings or a parent, and they are dating people or they're going about putting an image of themselves that you don't think represents who they are. At what point do you tell people? At what point do you share your thoughts with people? I just had this conversation earlier with my partner. I was like, I know so many things about people, things that aren't so great. And I always wonder, like, when am I obligated to share it? And I really think it's when I directly see a possibility of harm, but not otherwise. Just because, again, people make mistakes. I'm not here to hold people to the fire for every little mistake they make. And at the same time, it's it weighs on me. I feel the weight of my obligation as a citizen or as a good person or as a moral agent. I feel that weight on me. So again, the question is, where is my line? When do I have to speak up? So maybe she felt like she had to. I don't know. You know what I mean? Haley says, curious on how you felt about Papa's reaction to Miranda too. Well, I believe he took back his initial reaction, right? About calling her a silly goose. Because I know Ryan Beard covered as well. And Ryan and I have collabed in the past. And I know Ryan was pretty not pleased with Papa's reaction to Miranda. But I think after everything came out, I think he had a more stern response about her. Did he not? Unless I missed that. You know what I mean? Okay, let's watch it and let's see and let me know how the volume is on Papa's end if he's too loud or something like that, okay?
All right.
Whoa, I already think he's too loud.
Let's get this going.
Let's see. Testing.
Okay, guys.
How's his volume?
Jonah Hill
How's his volume?
was a bad guy to his ex or something.
Tell me how his volume is.
And then I read through some of it, and I'm like, this seems a little bit silly. I don't know. I kind of wanted to talk about it. People asked me to talk about it. I feel like...
Ooh, I'm excited already because I like Papa. So let's see.
We've become very pearl clutchy as a society. I'm not even saying that.
Pearl clutchy.
Is
my audio okay?
Oldest
I'm
Jonas
kind of talking over him.
was wrong.
So you guys can tell me.
Right, rather. I feel like what happened to us being people that would make mistakes? We've all done bad things. We've all not acted correctly.
You know what's funny? My partner asked me today, what have I done in my past that was morally opposed to my current values that was really bad? And I felt like I had done really bad things. And the the one I gave as the example is that I lied, but I didn't just lie. Like, I mean, I never lied to hurt people. I always lied to protect myself or convinced myself I was protecting myself. So I would tell like crazy lies in my 20s. You know, if I thought I was getting, like, if I was going to quit a job, but I wanted a good reference, I wouldn't quit the job and tell them the truth. Like, I need to leave for my mental health. I would say, oh, my sister's pregnant and I need to go help her with her baby. Like, I would literally, my sister is not at a baby, but I said that to an employer once. I told an employer who trusted me that my sister was pregnant because I was afraid that if I said I was quitting for my mental health and I need to go to California, that I would lose the opportunity at a possible another job once I moved because I would lose the reference. So that was something I did that I feel pretty bad about, if I'm going to be honest with you. But that is mostly the height of my crime that I've done against quote unquote humanity, is that I tend to self sabotage and I tended to hurt myself. And that's not great. Like, I don't like lying like that. It makes me feel really icky. So, again, when we're asking that question of who do we forgive, which mistakes do we allow, we all have made mistakes. Absolutely. But certain mistakes are not done by all of us. I certainly have not, done what Miranda's done. You know what I mean? I certainly haven't done what maybe some other people have done. But again, like for me, lying to an employer felt bad. It felt pretty gross to lie because I was a nanny, right? So I was lying to parents. I was lying to people that were just people and they trusted me with their kids. And I'd lied to them about why I needed to quit my job so I would get a reference. And I understand why we do that. I still think it's icky. You know what I mean? I know, like, I see your comments saying, is that wrong for survival? No, it's not wrong for survival. But I'm not surviving anymore. So it'd be pretty weird for me to do that now, right? Anyways, let's keep going.
I know I was a menace until I met my wife, and for years after that, as I grew with my wife, she's been a very good woman. Well, she is a good woman, and she's making me a better man, a man that I'm actually more proud of than I ever have been.
That's great.
Even though I've never really been proud of myself. I don't want to get too into my feels, but like I'm happier with myself now, And I just feel like, what happened to people making mistakes? Yeah, he didn't do anything horrible. It's just not good, I guess. But let's read through it. Maybe I'm missing some context. I did a brief overlook, but anyway, it's called Jonah Hill's ex, Sarah Brady, claims he was emotionally abusive. It's been a year of healing. I didn't know she was on the Brady Bunch, but very cool. I mean, how do we define emotionally abusive?
Can we also just be self-aware about the idea that, like, I hate to say this, but talk about toxic relationship after toxic relationship. Hollywood is so hard to be healthy in. Not that regular life isn't either, but there's something really cesspool-y about Hollywood.
Definition of emotionally abusive. What does that mean? I don't want you. Okay. I just need like a definition, guys, on like a dictionary website.
You're not going to find one on emotional abuse.
An isolated occurrence doesn't necessarily qualify as emotional abuse, but a pattern of behavior that creates fear and control does. Such misreading can also range in interpersonal contexts, including parental relationship. Okay, so interesting. Cool.
Emotional abuse is such a hard thing to define, as is all abuse. And that's another one of the problems, is that what is abuse to you might not be abuse to somebody else. But also we might all just be coping as well. I don't feel abused, says the coper. You know what I mean?
Let's see what we got here. Jonah Hill's ex, Sarah Brady, is speaking out about their relationship and alleging that the actor was emotionally abusive during their time together. In a series of Instagram story posts, which I have access to, made between Friday and Saturday, the surf instructor shared multiple screenshots of various alleged text message exchanges between herself and the 39-year-old actor. How old was she? This is a warning sign to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan. Call me if you need an ear, Brady wrote, showing text messages alleging that from Hill, asking her to take down any surfing photos from her Instagram with her ass as a thong. Right on face value, bro. And maybe I'm a little regressive, but I would also not let my wife post those pictures of your ass in a thong. And she has every right to say things similar to me. You know, we are married and we are in love, and we have mutual ownership of each other. And maybe you don't want to look at it that way, but that's how we look at it. And we have the right to say, I don't like this or I like this. You know what I mean? So I don't really care. As far as the exit plan thing, maybe.
Okay, right away, I've been seeing this so much. It just happened with Kiki Palmer, right? Didn't it just happen with her where her like boyfriend, they broke up because of the way she was posting content? I am so lucky that I am with the most wonderful human on earth. Like, he's just so great. But yeah, like I just posted some stuff for OF today and I was like, look what I posted. And he was like, oh, that's nice, babe. And I was like, I know. I don't, I, listen, when I say I don't want to settle, I don't want to settle. But I think Papa's right that ultimately you're allowed to negotiate the standard of existence you want to have with your partner. I think ultimately, if you don't want a partner that has their butt out, I think that's fine. But you know what's the question? I should ask Papa this question. Why do secularists have such a problem with it? Like, that's what I want to know because I'm in Europe and everybody be out here in thongs and Speedos. All the men be out here in Speedos. You feel me? So I'm just trying to figure out what is it about secularists that makes them want a partner that covers up versus a religious? Because a religious person, that kind of makes sense. But what does a secularist or an atheist, like, what could their problem be? Is Jonah religious? Like, is Papa religious? You know what I mean? If it's not about religion, then what's the big deal with a person having their butt out? Especially since I've been like working out and I'm back doing workouts. I did push ups yesterday, guys. So I'm working out again. You bet I'm going to have my butt everywhere. I'm not working out for nothing. Like, I'm working out to look cute. You feel me? Like, ma'am. So am I going to post my butt? But then again, my whole TikTok feed or my whole Instagram feed is literally girls. It's just hot girls. Hot girl after hot girl after hot girl. That is what I look at. That is the content of my pastime. I literally go through Instagram just to get makeup and fashion videos and hot girl videos twerking. That's all I care about. That is all I care about. So yeah, I think that's a little interesting, this idea of wanting your partner to be covered up when you're not religious. That's what I want to know. Hi, Chance. Hello, Raiders. Hi, everybody.
Maybe I'm gonna be wrong because she mentions make an exit plan, girls. Not like an exit plan means you're being abused to the point where you can't leave or you're gonna get hurt. And I have, from what I briefly read, and we'll look into this, that wasn't even part of the thing. You don't need an exit. Like, it just implies that like there was some kind of like behavior that prevented you from leaving. Like, I've been with somebody before, and like, you know, we weren't good for each other, and she didn't want to leave because I would pay for everything. So like, like, I don't know. Sometimes that's what it is. It's like, oh, I don't really like. I'm not really in love with this guy.
Ooh, Monet says I think it's a trickle down effect from religion that affects secular people as well. It must be, right? Or maybe people don't want to be that girl or that boy. Like, I'm sure, like, even this right here, like having my bra strap show, but they match my earrings, okay? There's a reason. Might be to other people like, oh, Brittany, why are you doing that? But like, kids, it looks good. What are you talking about? But yeah, sure, like, you're that person. Like, even the fact that I have an OnlyFans, like, to me, I'm just like, yeah, nude art, nudism, like, owning the body, sex positivity. I'm sure for other people, like, it's never going to translate into that. It's always going to be like that whore, and that's whatever, your prerogative. But like, what a limiting way to see the world. And again, I'm not trying to go for like Papa or Jonah or anybody. Like, if you don't want your partner to show their body and you have that like that relationship with you, that's fine. I just want to know why. Like, why? And I want to know if people have thought about it, and I want to know if Jonah's thought about it. But Jonah's allowed to say, I don't want a partner who shows off their butt, I guess. You know what I mean? Halian says it feels like a concern for other people seeing what they see as quote unquote theirs, or at least sacred between them, but I don't personally get it. Yeah, I guess, like, for sure, like, there are things, like, my partner and I are monogamous. Why? Because we want it to be about us. Like, I own him, he owns me. We are a partnership. I don't want anyone else kissing him or touching him. He doesn't want anyone kissing me or touching me. So I understand that. Like, we're monogamous because, like, we want to build a life together and we have only the spoons for one another, right? Like, he's the only person that I want to tolerate in the world. Oh man, I should not put these bra straps here. I just want to fidget with them now. I need a fidget spinner. My ring isn't satisfying enough. Um, so for me, I guess I understand wanting boundaries, but they have to be negotiated. Now, if Jonah had this from day one, that'd be different. But if he just brought it up a year into the relationship, it's like, what the fuck Manosphere podcast are you watching, bro? Vash says the clothing thing is about sexual signaling. Think of it like saying every time you want candy, you put up a sign. Then you go on a diet, but you still keep putting the sign up. Yeah, but like, culture, like if you're in LA, everyone has their butt out. Are you really that different from anyone else? If you're in Europe and we have topless beaches, like, do you get what I'm saying? Is it just a culture thing? If you want a different experience in life, move to a different culture, I guess. It just feels weird. I just want to know how much is this new for Jonah? Like, how much did Jonah change his mind a year in? So let's see. Let's see.
And I make him feel like shit all the time, and he still, for some reason, devotes himself to me. But I don't want to have to get a real job or any job at all, so I'll just, I'll fucking play video games all day while he goes and works 2 jobs, and fucking I won't cook or clean or
Damn, R.I.P.
clean or do anything at all or show appreciation or even want to hang out with him unless he buys me stuff. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm projecting. But maybe I'm also just being too dramatic about the exit plan comment. After Brady said that she deleted all the posts. The Superbad star allegedly told her it was a good start, but she didn't seem to get it. His points, but it's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. Hill repeatedly wrote, "You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear. And I hope this makes you happy." Okay.
Okay. Interesting communication style. So there's like an openness to
So he
it.
set some boundaries. And another.
Boundaries are super important. Jonah has the right to have them. Amber says, come on, it's not necessarily about religion. It's about our version of monogamy, values of sharing intimacy between us only. Your line in the sand will just be different from someone else's. For sure. But you would think that if she surfs and she's posting surfing videos or she's showing her butt, like again, if he's dating an athlete, does he tell her like not to post surfing videos? It's like, why did he date her if he knew she was a surfer or if he knew she was going to be on the beach? What is it about people that hit on people thinking I'll change them? You know what I'm saying? I feel like he should have, unless this is new. My theory is that he wasn't like this when they started dating and he switched it up on her. My theory is that he switched it up on her. But let's keep
Screenshot
watching.
Brady shared a text message exchange allegedly. Okay, these are just these are all just like a bunch of examples. We're just gonna read through everything. There's really nothing here. We got the baseline. Let's actually just read through the messages themselves. Here we go. Oh, this was already there, but whatever. All right, so these are them. I don't know if they're in order. Well, these are in order if she released it. This is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan. I love you all. All right, so I don't know what she says before, but he says, good start. You don't seem to get it, but it's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made the clear, and I hope that makes you happy. I guess this is a picture he wanted her to remove, which is a little hard to see. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. But here's my thing, is like if you don't like the boundaries, just...
Yo, 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 yo. Oh, damn. I wish that picture was bigger. She's literally on a badass surfboard surfing. Hold on. I'm making his video really big. Do you guys see this in the corner? It's like her surfing in a bathing suit. Is that a one piece? Is she literally wearing a one piece right now? That... Okay. Again, we don't need to judge Jonah for his limitations, but talk about freaking repressed. I'm sorry. Are you a Muslim? Are you a Catholic? Are you Mormon? Again, I just don't believe that a secularist who doesn't believe in a God could seriously care that his woman is in a one piece surfing. How sexually repressed are you? Tell me. If one of you are in my audience and you think this is reasonable, you got to tell me. She's in a one piece surfing on a wave. How is this a boundary he has that's not toxic? How is this not freaking weird? How is this not weird? Is this not weird? Again, if you're religious, fine. You believe in a magical God. You do you. But you don't believe in a God. And this is... What? She found the one piece. That's crazy. You can find the photos on Instagram. Okay, hold on. What's her name? Hold on. Okay. Oop, that's me. Okay. Okay, hold on. I just don't want to accidentally show anything I shouldn't. Jonah Hill, ex-girlfriend. Sarah Brady. Sarah Brady. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I'm about to bring out Violent Britney. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't possibly think this is. What is this? Is this a threat to humanity? Oh my god, not a surfing video. Oh my god. Not a surfing video. What will I do? What will I do if other people share this intimacy with me? I'm sorry. Come on. No one's mad about this but fucking crazy religious people. Come on. Come on. No one is fucking mad about these fucking photos. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, guys. Oh no, guys. Oh no, she's surfing, guys. What will we do? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, come on. Come on, don't fuck with me. This man is in Hollywood. Don't fuck with me right now. No. Don't fuck with me. You're so fucking weak. Fuck, men are weak. And not all men, obviously, but God, you're so weak. Oh no. Oh no, what am I gonna do? My girlfriend's surfing. Oh no, what am I gonna do? She's fucking prettier than me. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Oh no, not this. Oh god. Fuck, so sad. That is so sad. Oh no. Scandalous. Just absolutely scandalous. Holy fuck. Just oh my god. Fuck, there's no way this is what he's mad at. So weak. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of people being so fucking weak. You know, honestly, I'm trying to be nice. I feel like my live shows bring out the most, like, mean side of me, but fucking A, just watch a sunset if you're gonna be this fucking weak. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? This can't be the photos. Like, this is just so pathetic. You don't deserve a woman. You don't deserve a wife if this is your insecurity. This woman's a badass, bro. I love her. I don't know if he was being, like, emotionally abusive, but I will say he's being a fucking idiot. Like, just so weak. Grow the fuck up. Jesus fucking Christ. He asked her to take the photo off the white outfit off her Instagram. White outfit. This one? Like this one? Just, come on. Vash, thank you for the super chat. Quote, men are so weak. Look, I'm married to a man. Well, you know, I'm life partnered with a man. I love men. Oh, what is a man? But literally so weak. Shut the fuck up. Can you believe these are the men that are like, men built America. Men can suck my dick. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be such a fucking misandrist, but Jesus Christ. These are the men you're so worried about. All these like fucking MRA guys are like, we have to fight for men. Are these the men you are fighting for? These weak bitches? I can't. This can't be the reason. I'm going in hard. Hold on. This can't be the reason. This can't be the reason. Like, literally, her whole thing is surfing. Why did he even date her in the fucking first place? Because he's a man, and he probably went, oh, I bet I could change her. Just like the toxic women, they're like, I bet I could change him. I bet Jonah Hill was like, I bet I could change her. I'm America's sweetheart, Jonah Hill. I bet I could change her. I'm America's sweetheart, Jonah Hill. America's sweetheart needs to get eaten and fucked by a demon again. Fuck. So embarrassing. So embarrassing. This is the most fucking normie fucking shit I've ever seen. Oh my god, she's the most normie person. This is so dumb.
Leave. Unless you're implying that he wouldn't let you, or he would threaten some kind of pain onto you. Just leave. He's giving you all the flags that would be considered red flags. Just don't be with him. Like, it's one thing that if you're actually trapped in a relationship.
He probably didn't do this at first. I just can't believe it. I can't believe that she dated somebody who had, because listen, oh my god, oh, where's that Reddit story? Oh, I wish I could find that Reddit story. I was listening to this Reddit story of this woman who literally hid all her internal thoughts from her husband until they were married. So she could then, well, we're married, so now you have to put up with me. People do this. And that's manipulative. So I do wonder if Jonah literally hid it from her until, oh my God, wait. Yasmin says he saw her Insta and slid into her DMs by commenting on one of her surfing photos where she was wearing a bikini. Ma'am. Ma'am.
But so just don't be with the person. I don't know. When did like I don't? It's not every instance where somebody is
Ugh.
wronged or where a woman is wronged is some kind of abuse. Like,
Mm. Well, hold on. I agree with Papa Gut. It's not necessarily abuse, but let me tell you, as somebody who knows someone close to me who does this, I have a very manipulative person in my inner circle. He's like incredibly like sick in the head, but also like way too smart, so it's very confusing. And he'll do this thing where he'll say like, "Brittany, don't you think women who wear leggings are kind of projecting into the world that they want to be assaulted?" And I'd say, "No, I think it's a little fucking crazy, don't you?" And he'll say, "Well, think about it. You're wearing skin tight clothing that basically is signaling to the world you're naked. So you're basically signaling that you want to be raped." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, probably not." And he was like, "But think about it." He'll say it like very calmly, "But think about it. Think about what you're signaling to the world." Do you understand? I have no place for these people. You can all go fucking watch a sunset for all I care. I'm in no way, shape, or form interested in these people thinking that they're in any way not degenerate. Do you hear yourselves? You think women should be assaulted because they're wearing leggings? You think women are sluts because they're in bikinis at the beach? And slut in the negative way, obviously. Like, is this the evolved animal? Is this the evolved man? Is this the height of humanity? Is men who are so fucking horny they can't figure out how to fucking keep themselves? Like, what is this? What is this? What is it? Fash with the super chat says, "Former fatty here. Get a hottie paying you attention is it's insecurity city. I worked on it, but it's a mind fluke. To be treated better post weight loss. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, for sure." Reptar says, "Disturbing kind of friend for your close circle." I mean, it's kind of hard when you're related to them. But yeah, I have some complicated relationships with people in my life. That's why I'm asking the hard questions. What do you do when the people you're either born into a family with or know? What do people who are related to Miranda do? What do you do when you have family members that are kind of sick in the head, but they're not breaking any laws, right? What do you do? What do you do? That's what's so interesting. What do you do with a Jonah Hill who might just be like, if you really loved me, you wouldn't wear a bikini? He's not abusing her, is he? Look at Papa Gut being so sure it's not emotional abuse. I'm not I'm not trying to stop you. You think you're beautiful, but it would make me feel so much better if you didn't flaunt yourself for the world to see. It would be so much better if you covered up your body just for me. Won't you do it for me? Oh, do you mind not eating that just for me? Oh, can you not be friends with her just for me? Oh, can you just not have that job just for me? Ah, yeah. I can't just cut inner circle out, but I see why you guys could be able to. I definitely could cut everybody else out easy. But the people in my inner circle, it's kind of hard because no matter how sick they get, right? They're still like a real person. So I don't have a relationship that's very close to them and they can't come to my house. But I'd visit them in prison if they ever got there. Um, mm.
Did you feel like you couldn't leave at all? I don't understand. When did Jonah Hill and Sarah Brady start dating? What did they start dating? Was it
Mm.
the summer of 2021, but ended their relationship sometime the following year? Okay, so the summer. So this is like 3 months later, I guess, after they started dating. Are they linked in the summer? Okay, whatever.
By the way, the person in my inner circle has a wife. That's what's even crazier. Is like he said that in front of his wife. And I was like, do you talk that way in front of your wife? There are women who agree. There are women who think women deserve to be raped if they signal that they are loose. So be careful. If you think like your neighbors aren't thinking this, or your boss isn't thinking this, or the person you're sleeping with isn't thinking this, that's why I ask people all the uncomfortable questions, because they'll eventually tell you. And then you can eventually have pretty hardcore boundaries with them. You know what I'm saying? Mm.
You know, you refuse to let go of some of them, and you made that clear. Okay, it's just some more pictures that he wanted to remove. Just break up with him, unless she's going to tell us that that he would threaten her or something if she would break up with him.
That's not how it works. Emotional abuse isn't like he hit me, so it's obvious. And even then, it's more like subtle. Like if you really loved me, hey babe, I really love you. Like it's a manipulative, slow, malicious. It looks normal. It looks like what there was a poly. Oh, I wonder if my partner sent me this Reddit story about poly stuff. It's about poly stuff, right? There's a story on Reddit about this poly girl who's dating a boyfriend and no one in their family or friends or circles like him because even though he's not doing anything that's like breaking the rules, he's doing things that are breaking the rules. It's hard to explain. Emotional abuse is like very subtle. It's why it's really hard to see it, and it's why it's hard not to say like just walk away. I feel you. I get that. Walk away for sure. But it's really subtle. It's like he uses the word boundaries to be manipulative. These are just my boundaries. These are just my boundaries. If you really loved me, you'd understand these are just my boundaries. But it's not about being boundaries. It's about controlling your partner by using therapy language. It's about learning just enough therapy language to use it against people. That's why uh what was her name on Love is Blind Ultimatum, the queer one? She used therapy language against Tiff, but she was obviously the abuser, right? But she used the words. It's like emotional abuse, and then you gaslight, and then you convince the person they're crazy.
There's nothing here. Anyway, here are the list of rules he's made, and this is one thing because I mentioned this briefly to my wife, and she doesn't really know the story too much. But she's like, I said like, yeah, I was briefly just talking to her about it and offhandedly, and I was like, yeah, he sent her a whole text message worth of boundaries, and she's like, well, are the boundaries themselves weird, or is it just weird that he wrote it down, or wrote it out? And I was like, that's an interesting point.
No, writing it out is good.
So
you should write it out.
let's see, plain and simple. If you need surfing with men, which seems very bizarre to me, that seems very insecure. You should be able to surf with the guy, unless maybe there's something about surfing I don't know. But again, you could just not be with him. You could just be like, I'm not going to be with you. That's a crazy boundary. Boundaryless, inappropriate friends with men. I don't. That's open. Is that even a word? That's open to interpretation. What boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men. So what he's saying is that he needs you to have a boundary with the friendships with men.
This is a hard one because even myself, like I have tons of friends. It's not man or woman or anything, but my partner and I did have to negotiate like what are our boundaries with our friends because I flirt with everybody. Like I flirt with all my friends, but not everybody is able to like hear that and not take it to heart. So him and I had to put down boundaries about who I could flirt with because some people in my life, like, oh my God, are you going to cheat with me? No, you fucking idiot. Like some people, I just know people, they're not fucking smart. Okay, they might pretend to be smart, but given the opportunity, they might not know the difference, or they may come from a culture where they don't know that you can flirt with your friends and it not mean anything, where you might flirt with your friends like very gay, and they might think like, oh, she's secretly trying to cheat with me. It's like, no, oh my God, not everybody's out here a cheater. Some of us just like to flirt for fun. But like there's a whole category of mostly straight people that I think just don't know how to flirt without it leading to sex. Like they just don't know how to safely flirt with their friends. I mean, even saying that out loud, like I understand why you wouldn't do it in certain circles, but I think that that's important. So maybe Jonah is sort of coming from a perspective where he feels like she should have like a certain restrictive behavior with her male friends because her male friends are going to misunderstand, right? Like her male friends are the ones that aren't going to understand.
which is fair. If you need to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, to post friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent
Friendships with women from your wild recent past.
past beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. I feel like
That's interesting because I understand that some people have like toxic friends and you're kind of afraid. Um, you could be kind of afraid that it's a signal that you haven't moved on. Like, look, there are people that I'm glad aren't in my life anymore. And if they were still in my life, I think that would be a red flag. But in general, if they're so bad that they'd be a red flag, you shouldn't even be getting coffee with them. So why would he have a problem with her meeting with toxic people even to get coffee instead of just kicking them out altogether? Mm. Mm. Yeah, that almost sounds reasonable. It almost sounds reasonable. Like, hey, I feel like your friends were toxic and you shouldn't hang out with them. But I'm not believing him that it's from a good place. Because I feel like, again, this is conversations like we should have together as a couple. Again, we want the best for our couple, like our significant others. Look, I don't know why you're dating. I don't know why you're in a relationship. But I'm in a relationship because I found a person that I want to build a long life with. Like I want to build a stable, happy, joyous life with him. Priorities. Everyone else second, but with him. And we always want to be on each other's team. Like a common conversation we always have is the balance between like work and life balance. I work a lot. I'm always working, you know what I mean? And we're always talking about that work life balance, but it's about prioritizing our relationship and balancing work. We are always having conversations about like, are you happy? Are we joyful? Are we consenting? Are we sure this is what we want? Do you need time to think about it? I love you. I want the best for you. Now, to be fair, I chose a partner that also shares values similar to me, and I chose a partner who's really, really reasonable. And I chose a partner who, again, did a courting style dating with me. So we weren't going to waste each other's time and have a horrible breakup. We were just going to date, figure out if we were compatible, put it all on the table. And if either of us had a problem, we were going to leave. At this point in the relationship, we're now a year in. Let's say my partner goes, let's say my partner says, I really don't like that you're naked on the internet. I'd be like, ma'am. Now I'm super confused because I've been naked on the internet for like 12 years. Now I'm super confused. I I dated you telling you I was pro nudity. I dated you telling you I did OnlyFans. I dated you telling you I was sex positive. I dated you telling you I did BDSM. I dated you telling you I was queer. I told you everything. Why are you bringing this up now? I thought, here I am thinking I found the perfect person, which I did in my scenario. But could you imagine? You're thinking you're finding the perfect person, only for them to switch it at the end, which is why I'm afraid of dating someone who doesn't know who they are, because my partner has such a good sense of security, right? He's not going to all of a sudden change and become religious. Actually, one of the reasons we probably would break up is if either of us ever became hardcore religious, we'd think the other one went insane. Because there's just something crazy about that. We're such staunch atheists that it would be just it's insane. But at the same time, I could understand how he would have the right to change and the right to break up. But I wouldn't call it emotional abuse because we would talk about the consent the whole time. With other couples, I just feel like none of y'all are talking about consent. You're not saying, I love you so much. This isn't me getting defensive. I'm letting you know this is the life I want. What do you think? Is it the life you want? Instead, it sounds like he's like, these are my boundaries. And if you don't like it, you can leave. And then it sounds almost like reasonable but unreasonable. I just don't get how long did they date? Did he say, does anyone know how long they dated before this came up? Because again, everything Jonah's saying is reasonable. He shouldn't date her if these are his boundaries. But then who is he dating? Now, separate from this, like separate from their relationship. Oh my God, don't sneeze. Separate from their relationship, is his requirements crazy? Yes. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, yes. Unless you are religious, how are you this insane about opposite sex friends? Is this a straight people problem? Are you guys dying? Are the straights dying out there? Could you imagine you're dating a bisexual girl? What, she can't be friends with men or women? Get the fuck off your high horse. Listen to yourselves. Listen to yourselves. If your girl is pansexual, if your girl is bisexual, was she not gonna have girlfriends neither? Why is it only male friends she can't have? Even gay ones? Or just straight ones? I want to know the fucking details. I think it's the tone you're reading it in, Britt. The text messages. Raider says, I just think it's sketchy. She dropped all of this years after they ended things. I don't. I harbor secrets for a very long time. Most people do, though. Most people keep it under wraps for a really long time before they think about sharing it, or they have to meditate on it. Guys, I know so many secrets about your favorites. I know half of the YouTubers that are lying out here about their reputations, affairs, secrets, STIs, horrible stories. It's just a part of the story. I hate to tell you this. People hold on to stories for years because unless there's direct harm, why would you share? But she might feel like there's direct harm being done, so she's sharing. Or she's just a cunt and she's sharing for money, which I think isn't morally wrong. Like, I don't share my stories unless someone's in harm's way because I think it's morally wrong, especially when people tell me things in confidence. Like, but again, why is she sharing this? I don't know. I want to know. But it could be for money. She could be a cunt. But does that change the fact that Jonah Hill has these boundaries? Don't you think it says something that people think these are reasonable boundaries? I want to know why that is. I think that's what's more interesting is like, why is this reasonable? Why are these boundaries even reasonable? It's not, just because it's a boundary doesn't mean it's reasonable. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to understand as well. Is like, this doesn't seem as reasonable. But yeah, I've definitely, like Violet says, I've taken screenshots for safety. Oh yeah, me too. I absolutely, because people be out here lying, so you got to keep receipts just in case. And especially with the internet culture the way it is, and he's a Hollywood star. You know, I was mad at FKA Twigs for coming out against Shia LaBeouf when it first happened, but now I remember why it's important that she does. I was a little upset because I thought Shia LaBeouf was suffering and needed help. But the truth is he had caused so much harm. I think it's important to stand up and say, hey, he's a harm causer. I remember being upset too. Like, why is FKA Twigs, like, talking about him? Why is she doing this? And then I realized, like, because he was past the point of needing help. He had already had so many people try to help him. So many people tried to help him. And he wasn't getting better. So at that point, you should warn people. You should warn people. You know what I mean? But I remember also thinking, why is she doing this to Shia? So I get it. But I want to know why we even think this is okay. Like, why do we think this is okay, that this is his list? And again, I'm not calling it abusive. I'm calling it insecure, degenerate. I'm calling it closed-minded. I'm calling it unevolved. I'm calling it pathetic. And I'm calling it weak. Outside of religion, because religion's crazy. So I can't, anything religious people do, it's just too crazy. So that's got to be put to the side. But a secularist doing this, you're a monkey on a planet and this is like the best you can come up with. Don't hang out with other monkeys. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. Sad.
Like, that's all fine for the most part. The only weird one to me is surfing with men. Everything else, perfectly fine. Hey, I don't want you to have inappropriate relationships with guys with no boundaries. Okay. I don't want you to model. Okay. You know, whatever. You could just not be with them. I don't want.
He could not be with her. Like, and I know he's doing that, by the way. I know she says, like, he's saying, I'm not the partner for you, which is good. That's true. Again, though, like, I know Hollywood is stunted, so to give Jonah the benefit of the doubt, maybe he's so stunted that he didn't even know how to have this relationship in the first place. Is this his first real relationship as an adult? But then again, I'm reading all these Reddit stories and everyone's so stupid in dating. Holy fuck, it's so dumb. Like, nobody knows how to say, hey, these are my boundaries. Are you good with it? And then, of course, if people cheat on you and they abuse you, you do stay. People say all the time. We witness YouTube relationships and abusive, toxic relationships online all the time. And we're like, oh, it's fine. They're consenting to it. We see it all. That we see emotional abuse on YouTube all the time. And we just go, oh, that's just how they are.
Want you to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit. Okay, sure. Again, just don't date the guy. To post sexual pictures makes perfect sense. to post friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past beyond getting a lunch or coffee. There's clearly more context here that we don't understand. But if she actually has a wild recent past and he doesn't want her to hang out with those friends, that's perfectly reasonable. If your wife or your girl was hoeing around with like their old friends, and then they're not like, you don't want them to be friends with those people, because then those, like, that's what happens. Friends usually have things in common. So like, hey, my friends go out and they go fucking to the club every weekend. No.
PB says it's funny calling all of the things, his things, sad, but people will say the same thing about yours. For sure. And you can, for sure. Talk about me, write about me. Go ahead, girls. But at the end of the day, like, there is no reason to have these boundaries outside of insecurity or specific beliefs. And the beliefs have to be consistent. Think about it. Why would Jonah have even hit on her in the first place if she was a surfer? If they were his boundaries, he never would have approached her. So that means he changed boundaries through the relationship. Now, again, I think it's unreasonable for humans to be so unevolved that they can't have opposite sex friends. I think it is completely clear that you are completely unevolved if you cannot have opposite sex friends. That means Papa Gut and I can't be friends. Because, now, if it's only men who are inappropriate, you shouldn't have any friends that are inappropriate, men or women. But see how Jonah specifically says no surfing with men. You were saying you can't do sports with friends who happen to be men? And men wonder why women think they suck. Because other men are saying don't hang out with men, they suck. So which one is it? How are all the manosphere and conservative people like telling us that Jonah Hill's boundaries are good? But Jonah Hill is basically saying don't trust men. They're so shitty that if you go surfing with them, it's dangerous. Don't you understand that Jonah Hill is basically saying men are such dangerous creatures that I can't let my girl surf with them? That is what the message is. The feminist message is that men and women should be able to be friends because feminists believe that men are more than their fucking biology. But the people who think men and women can't be friends because of sex are literal monkeys, unevolved. You literally only think with your dick. It's so fucking funny. It's so fucking funny. Tell me that's not funny.
Like, he's like, you can't hang out with them. Like, yeah, that's reasonable. She doesn't want you going around. He doesn't want you going around fucking other guys or like getting into some hoe shit, getting drunk, and then that's fine. And if you think that's too restrictive, don't date the guy. Like this is one of the things that bothers me about the new age conversation that we have about sexual assault, because it's real. We really need to have these conversations, to educate young men, especially about putting women, younger women, into situations where they feel like they can't consent. I totally get that, but not every instance of a woman getting receiving behavior you consider bad is horrible. If a guy puts up boundaries that are shitty, in the same way that if a girl does it, leave them. In most circumstances, you'll be able to break up and leave your partner. Unless there's something in here that's like, I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you if you leave. And none of that seems like nothing. And maybe we'll see it, but I haven't.
Wait. Yasmin says he also didn't want her instructing men, even though she's a surfing instructor. Not defending it, but it can come down to trauma. For sure. Do I think Jonah is traumatized? Yes. Now I want to watch that psychiatrist show he did about his trauma, because he says he's traumatized. So I want to check that out as well. But again, when you set down a boundary, they also have to be healthy boundaries. You can't, guys, just having a boundary doesn't make them healthy. You actually have to have healthy boundaries. That's why you go to therapy, to actually make sure that the boundaries you're putting down are healthy. So you can't just say, well, I have a boundary and that's why I have it. It's like, no. It also, if you're striving to be healthy, has to be healthy. Right? That's what's insane. That is what is so crazy to me. It would be like if my partner dated me, a YouTuber, and was like, hey, could you not talk about your life? I'd be like, what? What if my partner literally was like, hey, I know I dated and am getting married to a YouTuber, but could you not talk about your life? Is that okay since I'm now a part of it? How do you think that conversation would go over with me? Don't you think that's a super unhealthy boundary to put on somebody that you knew was a YouTuber when you dated them? Don't you think it's super unhealthy for him to put boundaries down on a surf instructor and on a surfing person when he knew she was a surfer? Don't you think that's fucking crazy? That's fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Then you would leave, yes. But again, and I'm not saying she's not toxic, right? I'm saying that the same girls that go on Fresh and Fit are just as toxic as Fresh and Fit themselves. She's probably just as toxic as Jonah, right? But we all are at some point. So this is the mistake leeway I'll give. Some of us have been this toxic. I've dated toxic, so I've been toxic, right? But I know better. I was striving to be healthy. So I'm not saying she's justified in the way she's twisting the story, but she could also be telling the truth and be toxic. Do you guys get what I'm saying? She could still be telling the truth that this is emotional abuse or coming from a toxic place from Jonah and still be toxic herself. So you guys can keep saying she should walk away. She should walk away. She did. But she's also reminding people like this is toxic behavior. Now, I personally, again, I only share things like this if it's direct harm is being caused. If direct harm is being caused. Because again, when people tell me things in confidence or people tell me things during a relationship, it can get messy. So I would only do it if it was really, really like direct harm. You know what I mean? Luke with the super chat. Hi, Luke. Luke says, personally, my own shortcomings such as insecurities in relationships come down to trauma. So I vaguely see where he's coming from, not trying to defend. I agree with you. But that's why I'm saying the boundaries aren't healthy. Just because they come from trauma doesn't mean they're healthy. So I'm agreeing. Like, I 100% agree with you. But this is why we have to make sure that we're not making decisions out of trauma. And I've been there. I've been there. You know what I mean? I've definitely been in a position where I've created boundaries because I was traumatized, but the boundaries changed once I got healthier. So what I'm saying is if you're Jonah and you're a secularist and you have these boundaries, you should maybe check that they're not trauma-based. Because if they are, you know what I mean? Then you need to change them. Like, you need to change them. These aren't good boundaries. These aren't healthy. Vash says, question, what if she is the entire bad guy if you had to make that argument? I can't make the argument that she's the bad guy when she was already a surfer and already out there and already in bikinis and he put down the boundaries. Like, there is no real bad guy. There's most likely toxic behavior, which most humans I'm meeting or interacting with have some vague sense of toxicity that they have to work on. So I'm open to everyone making a mistake. But again, I think we should talk about why we think this is reasonable. What I'm concerned about is that people were seeing Jonah's boundaries and saying that's reasonable. It's not reasonable. Not for a secularist. Again, we leave the crazy religious people out of the way. No offense, but you guys have the craziest rules. But secularists, you think you're a monkey evolved on a planet and you have a problem with your surf instructor girlfriend having clients that are men? Like, we are more evolved than this, are we not? Maybe not. You know what I mean? I don't know if he can change them until he addresses his trauma, for sure. But that's the problem, is that your trauma is not my fucking business until you make it my business. And I do think he made it her business. And now she's making his business everyone's business, which maybe isn't great. But it is what it is. Violet says, manipulative people weaponize boundaries in general. They use their own to control others, use yours to control your feelings, etc. Got to be aware of what healthy limitations look like, feel like. I agree. I know so many people that are like, I was just crazy. This is a boundary of mine. It's your fault. Like, I know so many people that will use therapy language to control and manipulate a situation. That's why you have to be like self-aware enough to handle these like the different kinds of people and understand their intent, I think. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen anything like that in the brief look through I saw. So just don't be with the guy. There's no threat to harm except for, I guess, not getting to his free money because he's rich. So, so just leave the guy. This is like so indicative. I feel like the way things work nowadays, where like somebody will be in some kind of relationship with somebody, a friendship or whatever, and then it'll end.
Salty Doggo says, I mean, they're LA types. They almost certainly suck for sure. She probably sucks just as much. But again, guys, when we see these stories, stop picking teams. We don't know these people. Ask yourself, is Jonah being reasonable? Is his boundaries separate from the story reasonable? Again, we don't know these people. I'm not taking her side. Fuck this bitch. I don't know her. I'm talking about the situation, just what I'm looking at. Within reason, does Jonah Hill have a reasonable list of boundaries? No, I don't think so. Anything is reasonable within a consenting relationship. But what is reasonable out in a healthy relationship? Like Abba and Preach just covered an obesity kind of person. And I'm not convinced that the obesity kind of person is technically pro-obesity. But let's say you're really pro-feeding and obesity and dying young and all that stuff. You could argue that it's not healthy. But you can't argue that it's like not their right to have these boundaries. The argument is it healthy? Well, what does healthy look like? Healthy can look different for all people. But generally speaking, I think, I guess depending on where you're coming from, being so afraid of your own sex, a man being afraid of men so much that he won't let his girlfriend even work with them is a super red flag of mental illness. You're so afraid of she shouldn't be around you. If you're so afraid of men, maybe she shouldn't even be with you. Are no men safe but you? Is he the only man who's safe enough for her to be around?
And both parties act inappropriately, right? In some ways, this happens. Like, that's my exes and myself, too. Bring the worst out of each other. Nothing like horribly abusive is there, but there's like really shitty behavior on both parties. And then 2-3 years later, all of a sudden, you look back and you're like, you know what?
Wait. PB says he wasn't controlling her, though. PB, you're missing the point. Everybody's missing the point. No, you're missing the point. He said those in text, and clearly they did not stay in a relationship. That's not what controlling means. This is what I mean. If you guys do not read up on psychology, if you do not read up on manipulation tactics, if you do not watch Dr. Kirk Honda, controlling does not mean physically keeping you prisoner. Controlling does not mean looking like breaking up. Controlling, right, can look different. What if she was too weak to stand by her own values? What if she was manipulated and convinced that this was reasonable? Then she would have been trapped in a relationship because of a controlling boyfriend who demanded these things of her. The only thing that stops a controlling person is for you to leave. That doesn't stop them from being controlling. The controlling doesn't stop just because they lost you. Joe from you doesn't stop being a controlling boyfriend just because his girlfriends are dead.
What? I want to cause harm to this person because they have a reputation. I'm gonna go try to destroy that reputation. That's like what's happening with like Keith Lee right now, right? The TikTok food guy. He cheated on his wife or whatever, his girlfriend, when he was like 20 years old, and now he's like, oh my god. You can make fun of him for being insecure. That's fine, but the rest is just so stupid. Anyway, he says all these things, and I'm not the right. If you can't hold these boundaries, then I'm not the right partner for you.
Getting out has nothing to do with whether or not he was controlling. Getting out has nothing to do if somebody's a rapist. Not being raped by somebody, let's say somebody corners you in a house and they're trying to rape you and you get away. That doesn't stop them from being a rapist, even though they didn't complete the rape. Y'all understand that, right? I'm just checking. Okay? I'm just checking. We do agree, right? If somebody attempts to control you and you find a way out, that doesn't stop them from being controlling, yes? If somebody attempts to rape you and they don't, and for some reason you get away and they're unable to rape you, does that stop them from being a rapist? Just asking.
That's an out. That's saying just leave me if you can't maintain those boundaries. He's saying it right here. If these bring you to a place of happiness, I support it. And there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for a romantic relationship. He's saying leave me if you can't maintain.
Yes, at face value, it seems really, really reasonable. Mr. Mate says, come on now, this isn't comparable to rape. Emotional abuse is pretty comparable to rape. Emotional abuse that's real is super comparable to rape, in my opinion. And it's all a spectrum, though, right? Like, all of it's a spectrum, right? Rape can be something... like on a spectrum, it can be like the most horrific thing you've ever experienced or something that people can deal with on a lesser value. So can controlling manipulative behavior, right? Like they're all spectrums. And again, if you have a limited understanding of what these words could mean, I get it. But there are thousands of cases I can think of that qualify under this. Raiders, thank you for the gifted subs. I appreciate you. So again, it's the same. The idea is the logic, right? What logic are you using? If somebody attempts to do a crime and they get caught in the middle of it, are they not responsible for the crime they attempted to commit? Right? Now, if these were his boundaries from day one, great. If these were his boundaries halfway through, great. But they do sound manipulative to me because they, again, you can't surf with men. You can't have inappropriate relationships with men. What does that mean? You can't model. That's fine. You can't put pictures of yourself in a bathing suit. That's fine. But again, if you're not religious, then where is this coming from? And if you say it's trauma, his boundaries, he's insecure, then it's toxic. You cannot base boundaries off toxicity, off your own insecurities, and then say it's not healthy. Do you guys get what I'm saying? All I'm saying is you can't read these texts and think, oh, that's just his boundaries. His boundaries are unreasonable. His boundaries are coming from a place of insecurity unless he can justify them to me why he would have these boundaries and why he would date a girl who's a surf instructor or a surfer.
These boundaries, holy fuck, this is so normal. You did nothing wrong. My boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. Number one, boyfriend. Literally just say hello and leave. The convo. I love how your therapist thinks I suck. I guess he's saying that. I literally am the best boyfriend on earth. I don't know if he's joking around. I don't care.
Again, guys, I cannot know the situation in truth because we can't know. I'm not calling the situation emotionally abusive. I'm calling the boundaries within themselves, even if it wasn't Jonah Hill, manipulation and controlling. I am calling out the boundaries. I don't know these people. I can't tell in this situation I don't know when it happened. I would have to know exactly how it happened, but I'm saying his boundaries, I'm calling out his boundaries. I'm saying his boundaries are super inappropriate and super toxic. Like, automatically I'm reading them and I'm like, no. Listen to this. Listen to the way he's yelling at her. He goes, I'm tired of your attitude towards surf culture. Hold on. Is this her or him? Hold on, I have to read it. Wait, is he being sarcastic? He says, literally, I'm the best boyfriend on earth. I love that your therapist thinks I suck. How do I read this? I respect your love for surfing, but I respect mine as well. And your love for surfing and being in those situations and a lack of awareness are not mutually exclusive. This isn't me. I have my own issues that I own. If you want marriage and a family, you can use the 25 card, step up and cut shit. The people don't get your time in your life and your kindness and sacrifice in mine. Take some accountability and operate with respect. It's that simple. Because I'm tired of your attitude towards surf culture. Is this her or him? I've been more than patient, and then shit like this is still here. Fuck the contest, fuck that place, fuck not respecting me in every situation within surf culture, and you don't get it, and you don't get me, it's hurtful and unacceptable. Get it? Is that her or him? Because, like, why would he say, I'm the number one boyfriend in gray writing, and then, like, which one is which?
You're right. We can't do surf social things or develop trust until you consider me.
Conrad says, I mean, in your family's bubble, you are allowed to be friends with the opposite sex. Well, I'm allowed to be friends with the opposite sex. My family's religious, so they're crazy. I'm talking about non-religious people. Non-religious people with these boundaries are crazy.
And make decisions that give regard to our relationship.
And by the way, only my religious siblings have, like, no friends that are girls or boys. You know what I mean?
I have been
my siblings who are secular obviously have opposite sex friends.
Vulnerable as possible, and I'm telling you that
it's all him. She posted none of hers. Ooh, I want to see hers. I want to see how toxic she was. Yeah, guys, he talks like a crazy. He talks like a fucked up person. Are you kidding me? This isn't controlling and how do y'all talk to each other? Okay, listen to me. Listen to Auntie Brittany right now. No one should talk to their partners this way. If you're talking to your partner this way, you're in a toxic fucking relationship. This is not how I talk to my partner ever. Ever. I would never talk to him this way. He would never talk to me this way. We do not talk this way to each other. Fuck you and fuck this. No. I'm going to put a standard. Brittany's standard. You don't yell at your partner. You don't cuss at your partner. You can cuss around your partner. You can cuss at a situation. You can cuss in a direction. You can't cuss at your partner. You feel me? Do you know the difference? You can cuss and be like, babe, I'm fucking upset. I'm going to look at this. Okay. But you can't talk to your partner this way. I'm putting my foot down. You can't do it. You can't talk to someone you're dating. You can't talk to people this way and be like, I'm very healthy. Oh yeah, this is super healthy. Nothing about this is healthy. You can't. Sorry. Like, you can play the game. You can say, oh, all relationships are hard. You don't know, Brittany. You can be like, you've been in a relationship for a year. What do you know? I know that I've watched my parents of 30 years plus do their relationship. You don't cuss, yell, demean, or threaten your partner. You threaten the wall. You say things that are hurtful on occasion, but goddamn, you have some limits. You have some limits. If you want marriage and a family, no. If you want marriage and a family with me, if you want a restrictive, controlling relationship with a man who's so insecure, I'm not going to let you be friends with opposite sex people, sure. Sure. But again, if you're religious and you have some religious reason not to have opposite sex friends, fine. Because religious people are in their own crazy world. But if you're a secularist, okay, you and your partner against the world, and you decide to be so weirdly controlling to your partner, oh my God, if my partner literally said to me, like, I don't want you to have opposite sex friends, I'd be like, then how are we going to gender swap? What's happening right now? No, but really, he has girlfriends. I have boyfriends. Wow, that sounds weird. He has friends that are girls. I have friends that are boys. I have also friends that are non-binary. I have friends that are gender fluid. I have friends that are queer. He's marrying a queer woman. I'm sorry. Like, you gotta respect your partner, people. You got to. But in this culture, in this world, where cheating is normalized, lying to your partner is normalized, when you're watching your favorites be fucking malicious and abusive to their partners on the internet, and you're all like, oh, this is so cute. Look at them fight. No wonder everyone is sitting here like, oh yeah, this seems really reasonable.
I am needing you to step up to the plate, which you can, I'm sure of it, but these losers don't get your time if you want me. Straight up, it's consideration.
Hold on. I got it. Fucking YouTube sucks. Oh my God. Lacara says, I'm not defending them, but maybe this is normal in their bubble. Yes. Okay, guys, can I tell you something? Can I be real with you? I think I fucked up. I think I fucked up by trying to humanize everyone so much. I forgot to remind you that even I have fucking standards and lines. Okay? If you treat your partner like this, you're fucked up. I don't care if it's normal in your bubble. Raping 12-year-olds is normal in certain bubbles. I'm so fucking sick of it. I am sick of tolerating people being abusive because it's in their bubble. Because yes, I agree with that. And I can humanize everyone and everyone's an animal and we're all going to blow up the planet one day and it's fine. But for the sake of my own reputation, I have to make it clear that I still think it's fucked up. I think it's fucked up to normalize child marriages. I think it's fucked up to talk to your partner this way. I think it's fucked up to do any of these fucking things. So yes, it could be normal in your bubble and you can be fucked up over there. But it's fucked up. And I'm not going to stand for this emotional damage, okay? I'm not going to stand for it. So yes, I agree. It could be normal in your bubble. Your bubble sounds fucking crazy. Okay? Maiden Monster, thank you so much for the super chat. Go off, Auntie Brittany. Thank you. But yes, I agree. It is their bubble and it happens over there. But, okay? And I don't want to tell you what to do with your lives, but I'm just going to state it my way. I think it's pathetic and weak to be so insecure that you don't fix your fucking shit before you ask people to change their whole goddamn life to be with you. I think it's really fucked up. I think it's really fucked up to ask somebody to change their whole life to be with you when you are still working on your shit. Could you imagine? He goes, these are my problems. I know they're my problems, but also change your whole fucking life to be with me. It's fucked up.
I respect your love of surfing, but I respect myself as well, and your love of surfing and being in those situations and lack of my awareness are not mutually exclusive. I guess she's talking about surfing with dudes. It's weird. Who cares? He's not being manipulated. He's just, don't date the guy. Say, I don't want to date you anymore.
Is it Dion? Dion Burton says, what's your opinion about Adam 22? Ooh, don't give me another super chat. You don't have to, but tell me, expand on that. What do you mean about Adam 22? Because I've been following him. Because I think him and Lana are really interesting, and sometimes I watch her podcast, and I don't really watch Adam very much. I think they are super. I can't decide as a couple. Are they toxic or not? Because I definitely feel like there's toxicity in it, but I'm not sure because they always talk about how much they fight. So I definitely think there's a lot in that relationship that I think is a red flag. But at the same time, like they both feel really fucked up as people to me, so they kind of match. And at the same time, I like Lana. I like Lana the plug.
This isn't me. I have my own issues that I own. If you want marriage and
Wait, who's triggered? No, no, no. This is anti Britney. See, when a woman gets passionate, she's triggered. When a man does it, he's just passionate. No, no, no. I'm not triggered. This is not about it's about me being intolerant. I am annoyed that the world has become so fucking destructive and abusive that we are normalizing this behavior as like, well, that's just normal. Again, it is normal. And I'm sick of it being the status quo. Let's evolve and change the world for the better, or at least your individual lives. Or, you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying?
family, you can't use the 25 card. Step up to that shit. These people don't get your time or your kindness or sacrifice. I guess she's 25. By these people, he meant any of my friends of mine that he.
She's 25 and he's 40, right? Why do men date women so young? And then they complain about women who want to be in their 20s and have fun. These old men are so emotionally immature they can't even date women their age.
Hadn't personally approved of. Okay, who cares? First of all, it is a little stupid of you to be. I think Jonah Hill's like 40 to date a 25-year-old. Like, you know, she's obviously, she's obviously going to be immature. He's 39 years old now, so he was 37, I guess, and she apparently was 25. She's going to be less mature than you. Like, of course, she's 25. Like, I feel like, of course, it's going to happen. You know, if she was 30 or so, that's a little different. I feel like 30 is when you've like matured for the most part. I say emotionally matured for the most part. You always have growing to do, but I can understand that. But she's 25, you're 37. Of course,
Yes.
if you're an idiot for thinking that she was going to be able to be more mature. Outside of this, none of this matters. Take some accountability and operate with respect. Is that simple? Because I'm tired of your attitude towards surf culture, that contest in that place because I deserve respect. I don't know what is surf culture. I mean, maybe there's something there. I don't know. Either way, I don't care. Fuck that context. Fuck that contest. Fuck the place, and fuck not respecting me. Always in every situation within surf culture, or you don't get it, and you don't get me. It's hurtful and unacceptable to me. Get it? I don't know if you get it or care or give a shit about this shit more than me. Even after Dr. Stern said it loud and clear. Dr. Stern is the couples therapist who went to seeing once a week for about 4 months. I don't know why you would go through so much to try to date somebody you barely have really been with. This has been like 3 months or something. Either way, to be honest with you, I think that Jonah Hill should have just broken up with her at this point. That's the biggest criticism I have. Oh, Jonah Hill, why did you stay with her for so long? Like, if she's not adhering to your boundaries, you should have done that, or she should have left as well. If she wasn't going to be able to adhere to the boundaries, none of this is abusive. None of this matters. Like, it's weird because he wrote it down.
I will say this. Okay, so let's play this. Like, let's be a little bit more nuanced here. I will say, I think this might be. Oh, is this too much? Do you think all immature relationships are abusive? Because if you're too immature to handle the responsibility of a relationship, aren't you automatically going to be abusive? Because you're automatically going to be toxic because you're going to mishandle the relationship. You're going to, like, we're listening to this Reddit story of two 16-year-olds. And she had a very rare occurrence where she got pregnant without them penetratively having sex. They apparently, quote unquote, went to third base, whatever that means. He probably, like, put the tip in or, like, came on her or something. But she got pregnant. Super rare. Okay, super rare. She tells her boyfriend and he dumps her, blocks her, doesn't believe her, thinks she absolutely cheated, calls her horrible names, right? They're 16. I didn't expect him to be so educated in sex and reproductive possibilities that he legit could have known this was possible, but he's 16. He's immature. So of course it's going to be toxic and abusive. But it's not purposeful. It's almost like without thought. So as you get older, because you're without thought, because you're fucking traumatized, you might not be able to avoid being toxic or abusive because you don't have the tools. So maybe we think of abuse as only things that are manipulatively, like, focused, intentional, but that's not true. You can be abusive without being intentional. My parents didn't intentionally abuse their kids, but here I am with borderline personality disorder. That was because of my upbringing. Whether you like it or not, people with borderline are often impacted as children. They didn't choose to have it. They were usually raised in an environment where it occurred. So you can understand that now that I'm older and I've gotten therapy, I don't need to blame my parents, but they are responsible. They are the reason I get to suffer for the rest of my life. They are the reason I had to pay for therapy. They are the reason that I have to make sure that I'm not overthinking or that I'm not getting triggered or that I'm not. But will they take any responsibility for it? No. No. It was never their fault. It was never, of course not, because they were just doing the best they could. So you might not intend to be abusive, but it's still abuse. And that's what I think is missing from these conversations. Just because you admit to abuse does not mean you're a horrible person for the rest of your life. Just because you admit to doing wrong does not mean you need to be crucified and you don't need to be given a second chance. Just because you've cheated doesn't mean you can't have a good, healthier relationship after. Just because, but it's when you justify it. It's when you justify your abuse, that's the problem. That's the problem. SW says abuse enough for CPS. Well, because we don't consider emotional abuse abuse. No. And like, I don't really believe in CPS. I think CPS should only be called in the most extreme situations because otherwise statistics show that children do better staying in a home that's emotionally like abusive to some extent than ending up in the system where they're often raped and assaulted. Like if you have a home that's emotionally abusing you, it's almost better than a home that's starving or raping you, because you can like at least get enough food and you can get access to like leaving the house and you can eventually leave. But in CPS situations, you're often brought into a situation where you're going to be raped and assaulted by even in the foster care system. So you're running into statistical dilemmas. These are very extreme circumstances. Like I wasn't molested. I was definitely hit. I mean, I grew up in a Middle Eastern home. It's like corporal punishment. It's very normal. I would argue that the way they hit us was borderline abuse, but eventually stopped. And then, of course, the emotional abuse was so clear. It's still clear to this day. You go home and you're reminded, oh, yeah, this is why I don't live at home anymore. Because even though they're good people, they're so emotionally stunted. They're so in their own trauma. They don't believe in therapy. So whether they intend to or not, there's abuse. My cousin comes up to me the other day and she goes, Brittany, can you imagine that my daughter's upset with me because she thinks I'm making fun of the way she looks because she goes, I'm giving her body insecurities. I don't want her to be fat. The dilemma is that my cousin isn't fat. She just has one of those bodies that like looks fat to American standard, but like literally isn't. She goes to the gym like 5 days a week. She's definitely more in shape than I am. I'm just thinner, and because I have a small waist, I look thinner than her. But it's not true. I'm not in better shape than her. And I'll call a fatty out. I know what a fatty looks like, okay? I love me a fatty. But like literally, it is abusive to some extent. You're giving your daughter a complex over something that isn't even objectively true. You're just giving her the complex because you're insecure. It might be out of love, but you're doing damage that she's probably going to have to deal with for years and probably going to have to go to therapy over because it gets in your head as a child. Whether you like it or not, your actions have consequences, and these things can matter. So whether or not you think people are pussified or people should grow a pair, I agree with you, but start with you. Start with you, you fucking pussy. You're a fucking pussy. You can't even let your girlfriend be friends with men. You want women to get over their eating disorders? You get over your insecurity about other men looking at your girlfriend. But you can't, can you? Because it's hard. Mm. Okay. Okay. I guess I'll keep this because I need to look at the thing. Yeah, it says I cut my mom out after not being able to mentally handle her borderline that she refused to work on. I recently reached out to her and she's visiting this week. Any advice? Ooh, good for you for being open. But also that can be really hard. It can be really difficult. You know what I'm saying? Obviously take care of yourself. Focus on your health and safety first. Make sure that you're able to put down some strong and healthy boundaries for yourself, right? Make sure that your boundaries are within reason. Make sure that, you give yourself a way out. Make sure that you treat her with the love and dignity that you would like to show her, and be okay to leave. Be okay to say, okay, mom, I love you. I'm going. Hold on. I feel like I'm not really in the middle of the screen and it's kind of driving me crazy. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm over it. I think I can be very forgiving to people. Look, I've made a whole channel being forgiving to everybody. Looking and seeing the best sides of Pearl and Sneeko and everything. Even Destiny. But people are doing fucked up things out here. And that's fine. You can stay fucked up. But I wish people would just admit, I'm fucked up. But instead, they don't, because they don't see themselves that way. And who am I to say they are, except a person with an opinion? But there is something to be said about what kind of relationship we want to have with each other. I don't want to have a relationship where I get cheated on all the time. I don't think that was right of Sneeko in his past. I don't think it's right that Destiny cheats. I don't think it's right that people do this and then blame their mental health and blame their values and blame the fact that they're weak. I don't think it's okay that Fresh and Fit do these things. You can do you, and the women who are listening to them have to make decisions about whether or not they want to continue in relationships with these kinds of people. That's fine. I'm not saying you're an evil person. I'm saying your behavior is toxic enough that it could, by proxy, create an abusive situation in which you are giving people complexes. Look, I deal with a lot of people. Maybe I've had about like a dozen or so callers in the past or at present and friends, family who've been cheaters. You're not evil because you cheated. You're bad when you double down and don't apologize for the hurt you've caused. You're not bad or evil because you made a mistake. You become evil when you double down on the bad behavior and do it again and again and again and blame everybody else but you for your own actions. You're not wrong for having boundaries. But if you create those boundaries from a very toxic place, you're probably causing more harm than good. And my goal is harm reduction. Harm reduction is a lot of work. It means admitting I did something fucking wrong. The problem isn't that you make a mistake. The problem is that you're doubling down. You're doubling down on the mistake. You don't know. I was crazy. It wasn't my fault. So things happen. I was drunk. Okay. I'll forgive a drunk driver, bitch, who even kills somebody. But not if they blame it on the alcohol. You get it? You can't blame it on the alcohol. You got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. You know what I mean? PB says most people don't ever admit that they are fucked up. That's true. And that's the fucked up part of it all, really, is that it starts with us and it has to end with us. But it's very hard to face ourselves and say, holy shit, is it me? Am I the trauma? Am I the toxicity? Yeah, probably. And it's also probably the people that we're choosing. It doesn't erase what they've done. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to add a but in there. Lakara says, I grew up with a mom with undiagnosed bipolar and it fucked me up a lot. I'm shy, anxious, and insecure, but now that she's gone, I miss her. Oh, bro, I'm gonna cry. Ooh, that's so hard, bros. You don't know what your parents are dealing with because they're people just like us. Our parents suffer. The adults in our life are suffering. Even Jordan Peterson is upset with Andrew Tate because he's somewhat criminal. And men who are insecure and without guidance will look at this charismatic man with a six-pack and say, well, at least he's successful, so I should look at him as my guide. This is not good. Just because you're insecure does not mean you need to say yes to the first douchebag who smiles at you and tells you they can give you a good life, whether you're looking for a mentor or a boyfriend. And to the men in the world who are so desperate for women, why? What are you so desperate for? Validation? You can get validation in many ways. If you're looking for companionship, get a dog. And then figure out how to find the exact person who's going to make you joyful. Or you can settle into a relationship where you harbor secrets and you cheat and all of these things, but then it's on you. I can't feel sympathy for someone who settles into a relationship and then goes, well, I had to cheat. She was a bitchy, naggy bitch. Okay. But see how that's still on you, but you want to put the blame on her? It's like, grow the fuck up. Jesus Christ. Jonah Hill is doubling down in his new clothing brand merch. Did you see it? Oh, I heard that he had clothing brand merch that said something like, I'm manipulative or something. I didn't really look into it as much. Okay, hold on. Let me scroll up. I missed a bunch of comments. You can't predict what will harm others. I think that's wrong. I think overall it's probably bad to stab someone in the eye. Okay, so then you start coming down from that. Okay, I think it's probably always bad to rape somebody. Okay, I think it's probably always bad to murder somebody. Okay, I think it's even for yourself. Remember, you can be causing harm to yourself. If you're not smart enough to figure out what kind of harm can be caused, you don't deserve to be on a pedestal, and you don't deserve to be a sort of mentor. Because that's the dilemma. Maybe you're a mentor in one area, but not in all, right? If you're a person who can't figure out, it's probably going to harm your 6-year-old if you backhand them. You're probably not smart enough to have a kid. But, here we are. Letting the world have children that they don't deserve, which is fine. Because we're humans evolved on a planet and there are no rules, apparently. So fine, keep having your kids and keep abusing them. But I'm going to say that's pretty much harmful, right? Now, you can cope and you can say like, oh, I don't have any harm from that. But if you looked at your life, are you sure about that? Because I don't believe you, bitch. I don't believe you. I don't believe you because of the way you treat women, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat your friends. I don't believe you because of the way you treat men. I don't believe you because of the way you treat people. When someone tells me like, oh, I wasn't really traumatized from it, and then you look at their life, are you sure about that? Now, not everything looks or is easily understood when you see it. So you could see someone who's like in sex work and they could look unhealthy, and they probably are. Lots of people who do sex work are extremely unhealthy. But sometimes you get a dime in which somebody has a healthy relationship with sex work, right? And I do, and that's this week's podcast, bitches, is like how to have a healthy relationship with sex work. It starts with you. You want to be a healthy sex worker? Start with yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be unhealthy in a already toxic environment because sex work, capitalism, earning money, selling your body, super toxic. Hell, working at McDonald's, just as toxic. It's just different, So the goal here is to be healthy. And the goal here is to notice harm. Harm is subjective. But harm overall has some black and white objective, like don't rape people, okay? Don't do that. And then we can start talking about the nuance of, well, do we think it's abusive to have an orgy with my partner? Some people might say that having an orgy with your partner can be abusive. I think it is if you say, if you really loved me, you'd have an orgy. If you really loved me and you were a carefree spirit and you were really sex positive, you would have an orgy. I think that's abusive. But if you, two consenting partners, sit down with yourselves, not with each other, and say, yeah, I think I'd like to experience an orgy. And then you come to your partner and you guys come to each other and say, would you like to experience an orgy? I think I've decided I'd like to experience one. I decided I would like to experience one. And then you have an orgy. Where's the abuse? But the abuse can occur, the emotional controlling can occur when there is a manipulation, when there's a targeted desired outcome and a disappointment when you don't get it, when you punish your partner for not living up to a standard. My partner is very private. He's not on the internet. If I went to my partner and said, if you really loved me, you'd do a podcast with me. It'd really help my channel. Do you know we could make money if we started making couple content? If you really loved me. No. That would be so abusive if I went to my partner and said, I know you want to be private, but I'm going to tell the internet who you are. I know you want to be private, but I'm going to do the literal opposite of what I know is healthy for you. That's fucked up. That's pretty clearly harm, right? So I agree that it's not always clear exactly what causes harm in what formula, but harm itself is pretty clear when it occurs if you're not coping, if you're not in denial, if you're being honest. Now, again, this is a skill. My partner and I have a very specific skill that we both gained before dating each other, where we can really talk it out, really sit down and say to each other, is this what I intended to say to you, or did I unintentionally hurt you, and therefore I need to apologize? Let me think about it. I've thought about it. I think you're right. I think I unintentionally projected onto you past relationship trauma, and I am sorry for that. Let me take it back or slash make amends, because it happens. We're not perfect. And harm was caused in that moment. And so you have to make amends for that harm by acknowledging it and then doing it less and less to hopefully never again. Right? I'm not perfect. On a spectrum, I will cause harm to my partner. The goal is to keep it in light harm territory and solve it within 24 hours and do no long-term harm. The goal is to do no long-term harm. The goal is only to do minimal, light, accidental, unintentional harm. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because we're not perfect. You know? I need Aquaforce so bad. Oh, fuck, my legs are asleep. Oh, Jesus Christ, save me. Oh, God. Where is my Aquaforce? Actually, I'm gonna pee too. Hold on, I gotta pee. Keep leaving me your comments. I gotta pee. Hold on. Thank you all for the hearts. They're so sweet. I actually super love that YouTube has these hearts now. Let me put my lips on because I feel like God gave me a booty and no lips. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. How are you guys? Still good? Still good? Thank you for the hearts. I love them. Oh, oh, oh. Do you guys get that thing where it feels like a Pepsi can is going up your face? Ugh. Mr. Mate said calling someone abusive has a connotation toward intent, though, especially when he put it in this type of context. Oh my gosh. I feel like there's dust all over my face now. Hold on. Ugh, this chair is like not the most comfortable, but it's the only chair we have for me to bring into this room. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, if I'm being really fair, I think it is obvious that when people say you're abusive, they're also hoping to cancel you, fire you from your job, not give you a second chance, stop you from dating, not let you be in the social group. I understand that. There's a serious connotation. I think that's why people do double down and they say things like, you consented. You know what you signed up for. You could have left. If I had to nudge the world in a direction, if I had to want better for the world, I would want a world that could give people second chances. I would want a world that was compassionate, meaning to suffer with. I would want a world that was able to know that people can make a mistake and get better. It's why I hope that the people in my inner circle do get better. I hope they're healed. I hope they become good people. I hope they strive for more than what they've convinced themselves they're capable of doing. That doesn't mean we don't have to have boundaries where sometimes they're not a part of the group. It also means we can invite people into our lives differently, at different points in their life, not the same as our friends. You know, it means that I could say, hey, I'm going to have Brad over for dinner, but you don't have to. Or, hey, I'm going to go the extra mile and help my addicted cousin get sober, even though they're super abusive. But you don't have to. It's why we can say, I'm going to go see my mom who molested me when I was 5, not my mom, someone else's mom. And I'm still going to try to work with her and get her better. It's why some of us can do more than others, but it's not easy. It's not easy living in a world where abuse is normalized. It's not easy living in a world where the victims are always blamed. It's not easy living in a world where we're told, well, you know, you could have left. It's not easy living in the world, no matter who you are, whether you're the person who did the abuse or the victim. It's not easy for any of us. And if I had one wish for the world, it would be to make it a little bit easier to get better and a little bit easier to heal. But I don't want a world that makes it easier to be abusive. I don't want that world, you know? Yeah, I don't understand the idea that you can't predict harm. I think that just means you're not willing to put in the work to do it. I think people who say you can't predict things are people who don't want to put in the work to predict things. You know, I can predict my partner's going to be hungry later, so I can be considerate and make sure there's food in the house. I can be I can predict based off of my knowledge. Prediction doesn't mean without knowledge. Prediction doesn't mean without, it's like making a guess. You're making a guess. And you can statistically understand that most likely the guess is going to be correct. But to know is sort of to say, well, what did you think was going to happen? Which, if you don't have the knowledge, could make sense that you don't know. But if you have the knowledge, how do you not know? Like, if you have the knowledge that sperm inside of a vulva and a vagina typically creates pregnancy or can, would you not be able to say, like, it could create a baby? If you know that starving your child means they don't get the nutrition, which means they deplete over time, could you not predict the harm there? If you know, like, yes, to know something means you would have to know something else. But that's what I'm saying. The world is so dumb that if you can't predict harm to a certain extent, it just means you don't have the knowledge, which just means you're dumb. Stop being so dumb. I strive to be less dumb. I'm still dumb in so many ways. I still don't know, but I'm working to not know less. So I'm working to know more. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Ah, hold on. Ah, SW said, for example, you suffer from a dog bite and are afraid of dogs. Is a no dog boundary abusive or unreasonable? I think it is reasonable while you're healing from the trauma, unreasonable if you say you're healed from the trauma. So if you say, I'm super healed from this trauma and I'm very healthy and I'm still gonna have a boundary of no dogs, but the reason is because I got bit by a dog, well, then you're crazy. But if you say, I just don't like dogs, that's a reason not to have a dog. But if you get bit by a dog and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I can't have a dog around because of this boundary, now get rid of your dog, that's abusive and crazy. If you say, hey, I got bit by a dog and I can't have a dog around, I'm so sorry, I don't think I'm the partner for you, that's okay. But you have to then know with yourself, have the relationship with yourself that you can't then say, I never want to see you with another dog again. If you're even around a dog, if you even know a dog, that's wrong for the relationship. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not the boundary, it's the kind of boundary. Jonah Hill doesn't have a boundary that his partner can't have a dog. He has a boundary that she can't even be seen with a dog, talk to a dog, know a dog. That's crazy. That's borderline abusive. Because it's abusive, not because he intends it to be, but because it's so toxic and delusional. It turns into almost like an insane environment to put your partner in, which is abuse. But he might not be intending to abuse, but you're still putting your partner in an insane situation. And your partner has to then say, I'm not going to do this. But then he goes, well, it's my boundaries. Boundaries make it sound like it's justified just because it's a boundary. It's not justified just because it's a boundary. But yes, to logic your way through the situation, you would say, cool, I'm glad that's your boundary. I can't date someone with that boundary. But see how we're coping? I used to do this with my toxic ex-boyfriends or girlfriends. I would say, hey, I know that's a boundary of yours. It's, this is a boundary of mine. Looks like we're not compatible. And then they would be abusive and say toxic things. And I go, hey, look, it's just a boundary. And this was their way of coping. Well, it's just a boundary of mine, Brittany, that you have to do this. They would do that. And look, I get what they're doing, but that's not what my goal is. My goal is to be better than the toxicity and the abuse and the monkey brain. My goal is to be more evolved than the basics. So not only to admit that it's toxic and abusive, but to say, oh, fuck, I think I'm contributing to this and I want to get better. Do you get what I'm saying? So again, it's not that the boundary is abusive. It's why. Why do we have this boundary? Why is it worded this way? Why can't she even have friends who happen to be men? Why? Why? That sounds crazy. Unless you are already crazy and you believe in a God, and then for religious reasons you don't have your wife have male friends. Sure, because religion's already crazy. But if you're a secularist who's evolved, I've gone to therapy, Jonah Hill says. I'm evolved. I've gone to therapy. And you did learn in therapy that you're being toxic? What kind of therapist did you have? Probably a Hollywood exec who touches kids? I'm not saying that for sure. I'm just saying these Hollywood types all hanging out. Did he have another misogynist therapist? I don't know his therapist. I don't know who he is. I'm assuming he had more than one, but maybe not. Like who? Who's telling him this isn't a little bit crazy? We got to work on it, Jonah. Unless, again, you're religious, which is all automatically crazy. Oh, okay, hold on. I really lost the chat here. Hold on. I feel like Luna says, Brittany, I love your outfit today. Do you have any links? I'm definitely in need of some new skirts and pants. I got this skirt. Okay. So I got this skirt from Amazon. Disadvantages and advantages. Advantage, super cute. Disadvantage, makes my butt look flat. Look at this big booty. Look at this big booty. It's like, it doesn't, okay. So the advantage is that it's cute and swirly, and it was like $30, which I think was a little expensive, on Amazon. Disadvantage, hides my whole butt. It's like I never even had a butt. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. The bra I'm wearing underneath. Oh crap, I don't even remember. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I don't remember. I don't remember where I got this bra, but the black bra I got from a in town clothing brand called Crop, Kropp. It's just like a fast fashion teen 20 store. Discord says that's why you don't order clothes off Amazon. Honestly, though, can I be real with you? I find some gems on Amazon. Like, I like this skirt a lot. It's very flowy and it works, but yeah, it hides my butt. So that's the disadvantage. Oh my God. I'm just dying over here. I'm dying so slowly. I'm dying. Ugh. Okay. I'm dying. Like, look, I have so many people in my life that I think are good people, right? But they're at stages in their life where they become like really toxic and basically abusive partners without meaning to be because they're morally just like bankrupt at the moment. They're not meaning to be and they're really self-harming, but it spills over to their partners. So I always warn people in their lives like, "Oh, they're not ready to date. Don't date them. They're not ready. Don't do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." And people are always like, why do you get involved? I get involved because goddamn somebody better. Okay? Now I understand sometimes I can't. Sometimes it's canon and they have to live through it and they have to learn the life lesson. But man, when I try, like if I can, I'll try for the sake of both of them. Because look, what happens if you don't, if, and this again, this is only for very specific people in my life. If I don't intervene even a little bit and I let them get into the relationship, now the girl or boy is going to live with the memory that this person is abusive. And this person, who is never a bad person to begin with, just in a bad part of their life, now has to live with the reputation that they hurt somebody. But if you can just pause, work on yourself, then date, you're not going to get your text messages shared. You feel me? But then sometimes the irony is that we have to date and we have to hurt people to know how to be better people sometimes, which is horrible. Or we have to date to know what we want, or we have to date to know what we like. It's a double-edged sword either way. Existing is hard. I never said it was easy. Okay. Yes, did I see Keke Palmer's baby daddy? Boyfriend called her out publicly for her outfit choice. I think he was upset about her flirtatious interaction with Usher, but he used her outfit instead to shame her. Okay, this is where I don't understand people. It's Usher. He's doing R&B. He's being seductive. Let Usher seduce you with his voice, girl. How do people like to pretend like Usher want to fuck you? Usher doesn't want to fuck you. Usher is trying to sing and be a boy band man. Usher was the guy. When I was young, Usher was the man. He would sing and you would be seduced, and that was it. The idea that Usher is making tours right now and women are feeling threatened or boys are feeling threatened by Usher, get a life, you insecure man children. They're insecure because they're all cheaters anyways. But Keke was always gorge. Keke was always out here dressing half naked. How do you date a Keke? How does Keke get pregnant by such a loser? Only to have him shame her publicly. Think about the kind of man you're with that he would shame you publicly. And same could be said about Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend. Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend is willing to shame him publicly. There's something to be said about that. Now, again, we shame for different reasons. And I think the reason is important. But I think Abba Preach said it really well, that you shouldn't, if you had a problem with, like, if Kiki's boyfriend had a problem with her, why didn't he talk to her in private? It's their relationship. Why would you take it to the public? Listen, if your relationship is public, if you're having fights in public, like I used to with my ex-boyfriend, toxic. We are toxic. We are doing something wrong, the both of us. We are both wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. So wrong. It's just wrong, okay? If you're fighting in public about your relationship, something is wrong. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Tall Noodle says if you feel like you can't predict, you can also just ask people questions if you're unsure. Amen. You could also just ask your partner, like, hey, is this good for you? Am I causing harm if I do this? And then you can have a conversation about it. Jonas says, to me, prediction almost sounds like being mindful and proactive and thinking about the relationship rather than assuming everything is always hunky-dory until something bad happens. Right. Prediction doesn't mean always getting it right. It means being so thoughtful, so invested, so self-aware that you are mindful about the possibilities. Not the exact outcome, but the possibilities. The possibilities. I know that if I ingest drugs while I'm pregnant, I'm predicting my child will come out disabled, deformed, dead. So, because I can predict that far ahead, I'm not going to take the chance. Predicting. Confessions, these are my confessions. When I said all that I could say, what is it? Says she has one on the way. These are my confessions. No, literally, like all the time, like on repeat. I don't know how my mom let me listen to Usher when I was a kid, bro. Him and his cheating ass. It's so funny. It's so good. These are my confessions. Ooh, Luna says, I think that there are people who can have healthy childhood and relationships and not see harm coming. I think you can have toxic and abusive relationships and not see harm coming. I don't think harm is about experience in the beginning. I think it is about experience. It's about knowledge. So I think you can grow up in an abusive household and not see harm coming. I think you can grow up in the perfectly not harmful community and not see harm coming. I think you can be anyone and not see harm coming. But that's not the point. The point is that you have to be self-aware to be looking for it. If you're not looking for it, of course you're not going to see it, girl. If you're not looking for it, it doesn't exist. There was I saw this Instagram video where it's like when you're married to a billionaire and she walks through the door with all her shopping bags and then she sees him cheating, puts on her sunglasses and pretends it's not there. He's not cheating if you don't see it. If you're not looking for it, there's no harm to find. If you're looking for it, you might make up harm that's not there in the first place. It's very hard to be self-aware. It's very hard to be honest. It's very hard to know, am I making up harm that isn't there? Or am I actually seeing harm I need to do something about? I'm not pretending like the nuance isn't there. The nuance is possible. It is very scary to be a person who's like, shoot, is this causing harm? Should I say something? Should I do something? I think that all the time. Like I told you, I got plenty of secrets in my head. And I'm always like, should I tell people this? Is this causing harm? Is this person going to abuse people? But see, if I share, people might not believe me. Might think I'm only here for clout. Might think I'm just clout chasing. But what if I am trying to prevent people from getting harmed? But what if people are telling me, you had no like justification for sharing that. We want to consent to the harm. Okay, fine. Then consent to the harm. It's very hard to know when... It's very hard to know, but it's very knowable all the same. Brianna with the super chat says, can you talk about the Keke Palmer situation and her toxic baby dad? Keke is a national treasure and we must protect her at all costs. I love Keke. I'm all about Team Keke. I like everything that Keke does. She's amazing. She is just a star. She is a goddess. I love her. I think she chose wrong and I think she has to live with that consequence because now she's going to share custody with that bitch. Women need to stop making babies with men they barely know. Kiki is not without fault. She chose him. She made a baby with him. She chose to produce that child and force it into existence with him. And I just don't believe that it really came out of nowhere, his opinion. But at the same time, it could have. But from my understanding, it was kind of a quick relationship. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it starts with Kiki recognizing that she chose him. That's number one. And then recognizing that she doesn't have to keep choosing him just because she chose him in the first place. That's what I think. I think he's like a baby. I think he should not have dated Kiki. He's saying to him, how can he have dated Kiki and then asked her to cover up? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. These are my confessions when I said, I don't know the words, and now I'm just making them up because I want to sing the song. These are my confessions. I'm going to change the bit rate on my stream. Can you tell me if it got better? YouTube was saying it was too high. I'm trying to get my stream to look better. I can't tell if it's just the lighting, but is it fuzzy for you guys? Like, I'm using a DSLR camera. It should look better. It should look very clear. And I just don't understand why my stream is so clear on OBS. On OBS, it says it's beautiful. But on YouTube, it's not really, is it? No, it's fuzzy, huh? Yeah, see, it looks like I'm using a webcam. I'm literally using a DSLR. I'm so upset. Okay, hold on. So I've said, that raises an interesting question. What's the goal of a parent, and what should the goal, and what should be the goal of a parent? Wait, what's the goal of a parent, or what should be the goal of a parent? That's a great question. I don't know. I think having children is just so, it's so selfish. Like, having a child is just so selfish. Like, I think of my own family lineage. Like, my family brought children into the world in the middle of wars. Like, they just wanted to fuck so bad that they produced children in middle of, like, economic strife and starvation. Like, do y'all want to fuck that bad, bros? Like, they brought children into the world in, like, some of the hardest situations. Now, they always phrase it as, like, we were in love and we made love, and through Christ we made a baby. And that's very romantic, you know. I think we can look at things cynically or optimistically, and I think humans are just fucking because they're horny. But as a person who's extra cautious about not getting pregnant, who is, like, on birth control, like, religiously touching my arm to make sure my birth control is in and good to go, I will say that the goal of me as a parent is to set a standard and to live up to that standard. And if I can't, I'm not having a baby. And right now, I don't qualify for my standard of parenting. My partner and I both have a standard of what we think a good parent is, and neither of us qualify currently. So we're either going to reach it or we're going to not be parents. It's not that hard for us because, again, our goal is to live up to a certain standard so we can raise that baby in an environment that we think is optimal, healthy, loving, reasonable, and with a lot of harm reduction. And we, you know, there are just certain things I can predict if I had a baby now in ways that baby would suffer unnecessarily. And it would be on me to have caused that suffering. So I'm not going to do it. The goal is to get to the point where we have predicted all possible outcomes of suffering, and we now have ways to combat that suffering. And then if there's a way we genuinely haven't thought of, like way outside of our hands, like a nuke falls on us or something, we've accepted it's outside of our hands. But anything that's directly our responsibility and which we could predict harm if we don't reach a standard, we're not having children. And we're not having children. I've put an age limit on myself to not have natural children. And so if I don't reach that standard by a certain age, I'm going to probably like tie my tubes or he'll get a vasectomy. Because again, we're not obligated to have children. It's just like a selfish choice. We want to raise children. We think we'd be great parents if we reach our standard of being able to be those great parents. But until then, we're not going to have children. So what's the goal of a parent for us? It's to be good parents, exceptional parents, to reach a standard in which that child would have harm reduced and joy amplified. You know what I mean? And again, we're in a very privileged position. I've never gotten pregnant. We did not have a child as a surprise. We are in a privileged position once again. We can afford birth control. My birth control was $1,200 for a 3-year plan. I am not casting judgment on people that have had babies in different circumstances, of course, but in our circumstance, we're very, very privileged. So I can choose, you know what I mean, when to have that baby. SW says tying your tubes doesn't guarantee childlessness. Are you sure about that? You sure that chemically burning your tubes or tying your tubes and getting a vasectomy doesn't guarantee that? Yeah, sure about that? Are you sure that abortion doesn't guarantee not having a pregnancy come to term? Are you sure about that? Yes, people can have babies after those things, but not when they're doing it the way we do it. Like, no offense, we're pro-abortion, right? Vasectomy and tying the tubes would occur. We would like bring it down. You know what I mean? Ward said, I'm sorry, Ward, I said your name. Discord says $1,200 for birth control for 3 months. No, $1,200 for 3 years. Pregnancy can occur in all circumstances, but literally not when you take it down that far. Like, we're going to, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to not allow a pregnancy to occur to the best of our abilities. Like, it would be strange if the baby survived everything. You know what I mean? Like, they would have to survive 3 means of birth control. That's crazy. And at that point, it would be a miracle baby, and I would absolutely make a video on that and make money off of that. Holy fuck. Discord says, do you think too much about the possible negatives? Do you also weigh them against the awesomeness you'd bring to any kids? Yeah, of course. Like, you always want to weigh the pros and cons. You always want to think about those. But right now, a kid would fuck my life up. So also, I have to think about me. Would that child bring anything good to me that would outweigh the bad or good? You know what I mean? Yeah, says, did you hear the story about the woman who was conscious through her tubes being tied? She was paralyzed but felt everything. Literal nightmare. Ew, gross, awful. I hate that. My cousin got a nose job and she's like, oh, I heard the drill. I felt like I felt it was awful. And I was like, oh, bro, no. No. Illuminati says, how do you feel about bringing a new life into the world in this state? I totally agree with your stance on being thoughtful about having a baby. I think there's never a good time in history to have a baby. I think there are better times to have a baby in personal situations. So I don't think the world deserves my baby. I think the world can eat itself. I think the world is eating itself, but I think it's been eating itself since day one. I think the world overall as a species is getting better, but that's much slower of a process than the individual lived experience. So individually speaking, I think the world is complicated and hard. And right now, it is much harder to have a baby than before, just for financial reasons alone. To offer that baby some sort of stability. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was saying to her daughters the other day, she was like, how can you guys not own a house? And I was like, you didn't own a house till you were 42. She goes, we had 10 kids. I was like, I do have 10 kids. It's called this economy. This economy is 10 kids. The first house my parents ever bought cost 250,000. That same house is going for $1 million. We are not playing the same game, parents. Our salaries have not gone up to play the same game. My parents bought a $250,000 house when my dad was making $100,000 a year. My dad's salary hasn't gone up. My dad still takes about 6 figures home, so he pays all his employees and he makes sure that they're taken care of. My dad couldn't buy the house he first bought for himself again on his same salary. But boomers be in denial. They don't want to talk about it. Ooh. Kenny says, can we talk about the bubble that says adoption, especially international, is harmful and worse than leaving the baby in foster care orphanages? I think there are pros and cons to everything. I think I have enough. I shouldn't say a lot. That's outrageous. I have enough friends in my life who are like people of color adopted by white families. And there is a clear disadvantage to that, for sure. I think it's clear. I think they're loved. I think they know they're loved, but I think they can only be loved in a particular way. I think all kids, whether birthed or adopted, can have a disconnect from their parents. I think all children, birthed or adopted, can have a feeling of alienation and abandonment, can feel like they're not being seen, can feel unheard by the people who parent them. I think ultimately, if you're going to adopt a child who's very different from you, who looks different from you, and you're not going to humanize their resentment of that process, I think you failed as a parent. I think as a parent, if you're going to force a child into existence or force a child into your home through adoption, then you should be aware that they're going to have feelings, whether or not you like it, that might make you feel like you failed as a parent. It's very hard for me, or very rare for me, to come across parents who haven't had a hard time hearing from their kids that they might have failed them in a different way than they want to believe. So many parents will come to me and say, Brittany, are they saying I was a bad mother, that I didn't do enough? Nobody ever does enough. No one ever does enough. Because you cannot always know what unique consciousness your child will have. You can predict and do your best to do the basics, but you might have a child you didn't prepare for, so you couldn't predict for. You might have a child you never thought you would have, and so you might not know how to raise that baby in a way that makes them feel seen. And until you're willing to hear that, you know what I mean? And on top of that, your child might be a crazy sociopath narcissist who's out to kill you in the middle of the night. You don't know. You don't know. Discord says, how come his wages haven't gone up? He owns a business, and I think that it wouldn't make sense for him to pay himself more when he puts it all back in the business. It's kind of like how I live, or how a lot of entrepreneurs I know live. Their salaries rarely go up. They usually put that money back into the business. And the business is nearing retirement now. It's been successful for 30 plus years. And he's paid a lot of people's bills. He's given that money to his employees. And he doesn't need to live off much more than that. Like, my parents aren't gluttonous. They're not wealth hungry. They'd rather take a minimal salary and put the rest into the business that ends up giving more to their employees. Like, my dad pays his employees really well, and he can do that because he doesn't take a huge salary. He takes enough. He makes enough. You know what I mean? And he always guarantees that his employees will also be covered. They get health insurance through the company. He supplies them with their needs. You know what I mean? So I think he's always just made the decision. Plus, it's a small business, right? Like, it is ultimately, it's not a multi-billion-dollar business or something. It is a small business. Magic Dragon's mom is Gen X. and recognizes the financial struggle very much. I actually don't have any living boomer members, so don't hear from them often. Interesting. Yeah, Gen X is so close to us. I bet they do get it a lot more. Deanne says hair looks great like that, Brittany. Thank you. I get a little insecure about doing an updo, so I appreciate that. I don't know. I feel like it just like hides all my curls, but at the same time, I feel like in person, this really shows off my curls. It's a confusing relationship. It's almost midnight, guys. I gotta go to bed. What was the name of the movie that you said changed your perspective? If you're talking about well, I a lot of movies have done that, but if you mean the movie that I attribute a lot of my like self growth to, it's a movie called The Holy Mountain by Itarowski. We actually watched it with a group of my viewers. It was really great. We had a discussion about it. If you watch it on your own, good luck. It's called The Holy Mountain by Itarowski, and it's amazing. Yeah. Also, I do need to go soon, guys. So if you have any thoughts, comments, last minute um conversations you want to have, tell me. Because otherwise, it is 11:40 p.m. Violet says, "What time is it? Where everyone else is?" Yeah, where? What? How? What time? What time? People's. Oh, hi, my mouse. Oh, hi, sweet girl. Oh, hi, my mouse. Hi. How's it going? She's so sweet. I love her so much. Hi, my mouse. Oh, hey guys, do you know I'm doing vlogs now? They're really going well. They're really great. They keep me super accountable. I love it. And oh, look into Adam and Lena later. Yeah, yeah. Oh, can you? Yeah, okay. If you're in the Discord, post it for me. If not, I'll find it. But I'm doing vlogs. It's going really well. I'm doing behind the scenes vlogs, so it's like Patreon members, level 2 Discord or I'm sorry, YouTube members. I'm having so much fun doing them. If you guys want to see me go to the beach, if you want to see me um, do my shopping, kind of like Europe life slash how I go through like my thought processes before making videos. Check that out. It's been a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing them. I think people are liking them. So yeah, I'm enjoying them for sure. I just felt like inspired to do it. It's been really great. So I've been keeping it up. They're not necessarily daily vlogs. It just happens to be that way right now, but I'm just going to keep it up. I think it's great. It's a goal of mine. I think I just wanted to show more of my life to remind, people that there's a whole day that goes behind, living a life. And I'm definitely living mine. And I'm really proud of mine. I'm proud of all the work I did to get here. I can't believe I live in a beach city. I can't believe I found my person. I can't believe I have my dream job. Can't believe I'm not like every day triggered and mentally ill. Yeah, I'm just so, I think, proud. Maybe I'm maybe I want to brag a little bit that like, hey, I figured it out. Fuck yeah, dudes. I finally did it. I finally fucking did it. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yasmin says my thoughts on the Jonah Hill situation is that he just didn't like her anymore, but didn't want to be the one doing the breakup, so he started requesting unreasonable boundaries. Oh, interesting. Some people do that. Some people will facilitate an environment that creates a breakup, even though, even though they aren't those people. They create an environment that like makes, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like maybe, maybe for sure. Yeah. What time do I start my streams? I'm so ready. So I'm ready next time. So usually it's between 11 and like noon Pacific, but I will tell you this, I'm working on a solidified schedule so I can give you guys consistency. It's just with my spoons and the time change, I haven't been able to figure it out, but I am going to figure it out because you're right. I want to give you guys consistency. I think I need it as well. So my partner and I are going to sit down. We're going to look at the schedule because right now it's midnight my time. And right now, the Pacific people are just starting their days basically, or like you're in the middle of your day. It's like 3, I think. So you guys are, it's just like everyone's experiencing time so differently. So I'm going to work on it, but I really like streaming on Mondays. That's what I normally do. And then sometime around, between 11 and 12, probably Pacific-ish. Yeah. So yeah, Luna, thank you so much. She says you've worked so hard. I'm happy to see you happy. Thank you. I really did, and I know other people can do it too if they want to. Again, I don't want to pressure you guys to be happy or anything. But yeah, like I really did. I survived my teens, my 20s. I stopped wanting to die. I stopped self-harming, and I really learned how to like overcome mental illness, financial struggle, toxic relationships. I finally figured out how to be healthy in a very unhealthy world. Yeah. Yeah, wow. Fuck. Yay. Okay, I'm going to get going. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys next week on Monday. I'll see you this week, Wednesday, for the podcast. And I'll see you on Discord, Patreon, or the members for the vlogs. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Ciao, ciao. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Gray Pill Podcast.